Good evening, good afternoon, good morning, wherever you are. It's Stuart here from the Wool Patch, my bricks and mortar shop over in Long Melford, Suffolk, UK, and coming to you live. If you're with us live in the chat, then that's great to see. Welcome along. And if you're watching on catch up, hello to you. It doesn't really matter, really. That's the wonders of technology, doesn't it? We're here for an hour. If you are in the chat, as you know, you'll see producer Fizz there. And have you noticed? Yeah, Fizz has gone red W. And if you're interested in what those W's are all about, I shall just quickly say it's basically a shop supporter, and it's YouTube's kind of way of supporting content creators, which sounds all a bit official, doesn't it? But actually, from a point of view from me, it's actually supporting the shop. And if I just go to this, you become a shop supporter by going to the main page of the Wool Patch on YouTube, and you should see, if your browser works correctly, you should see the top bit there where it says the Wool Patch, the banner, and then on the right hand side you've got subscribe, which many of you have, always wonderful. But then you might see a join button. That's obviously if you're not a member. Some of you who are obviously already members, you've already hit that join button. And when you hit it, it then comes up with want to join this channel. Now, it's showing you there that I've got to sign in. So you do need to sign in, which will mean creating like your profile. You can be as open or as closed as you like on that profile. It really doesn't matter. It's what you choose. But once you've gone through all that, you then become a member, and it's just one flat rate of $4.99 a month. And how I see it as is it's just you coming into the shop and buying a ball of wool once a month. Now, I know many of you come into the shop or your local yarn shop, you go in more than once a month and you probably spend way more than $4.99. But I know many of you can't get to my shop and you're supporting and you want to support elsewhere from around the world. And I can see James, for example. Where's James? He says, my badge has disappeared. No, it's still there. You've got an orange, a red badge now, James. James is on the other side of the world in New Zealand, and he is supporting the shop. So he's pressed join and supported. And this little picture here, the reason why it's gone red is because it goes up the longer you've been a shop supporter. So then other people can see that, and then you can show some love for that. So those people who have got an orange, a red badge, they have been a Wool Patch shop supporter after 2 months or more. So it could be 3 months, 4 months, 5 months, because then 6 months, yes, they go up to lavender and blue status with a blue W. And then after a year, gold, yellow. If you're a supporter that long, hopefully you will be. But let's just have a quick look in the chat and see who's here. Yes, I know some of you have said, yeah, very short hair. I have, Kirsten. Thank you very much. And look, yes, you do match the colour of my top. Friday, I was long overdue because my hairdresser went on holiday. How very dare she? So I was like nearly 6-7 weeks of that haircut. It was like lockdown all over again. James, good evening. That's me awake again after a post-work nap. Oh, Sunday work, James. Oh, not nice. Had to set the alarm though. Oh, yeah, you've been working hard. And Penny. Now, Penny is local and always comes to that shop. That's because you know this is a sock episode. Lovely to see you. And you remembered. Great to see you. Very, very good. We had a chat, actually, about a week ago when Penny bought some more West Yorkshire spinners. Remember those country birds that we showed on Selly Telly? Yep. She was in. I think you got Starling, didn't you, Penny? Sure. Lovely to see you, Valerie, too. No, you didn't miss it. And then Sue, once a month. Yes, yeah, you just pay once a month. I know I see you more often though. I saw Sue actually Saturday. Sue came in and we were doing some knitting and experimenting. Good evening, Margaret. Lovely to see you. And oh yes, a lovely lavender. Yes, and Jeff. Good afternoon. Afternoon, Jeff. Lovely having you here. And Lois. Great. But it's not just about the chat, it's about you at home and whenever you're watching, because you could be watching in a couple of weeks' time. So if you know the show, we do stick to a kind of schedule. I have the wonderful producer Fizz in my ear. And hopefully you won't hear it this time. She keeps us on track. Let's have a look at what we've got coming up for you on the running order today. Let's do this and hit a button and then hopefully it will show. And no, it won't show. Well, where's my running order gone? Oh, I've got to do this and do that. How's that going? The wonders of technology. There it is. So, as always, we kick off the show with a garment that either I've made, which tends to be not very much because I'm always doing something else, or whether someone else has made it for me. And yes, you've got a sneak peek of it here already. So in a little while, we're doing Runway to Reality. Then at 8:15, as always, Guess the Year, and it's a sock theme. To test your knowledge of can you work out the year of the pattern of the sock. Then 8:20 for most of the show, we're just going to talk about socks. We're going to talk about the tools needed. We're going to be talking about the yarn needed, and then delve a little bit into the yarn a bit more and talk about nylon and then how that fits in with the world of man-made fibres and the battle where we are now of trying to get new fibres and beating fast fashion and all sorts. And we're going to be talking about Lyocell and Tencel. Did I just speak a foreign language to you all? Let me know in the chat if you have heard of Lyocell or Tencel, because we're going to go into more detail about that. So it's going to be very chilled. And as you can see there is no gallery. Don't worry though, it will be coming back in September as we've found a workaround. We don't need to use the hashtag anymore. We're just going to go back to good old basics of tagging. So that's what we're going to do. And we'll set that up over the next month. So the gallery will be back for a brand new season when we start the autumn and winter season. And then some shop news to finish. And then interspersed through that will be everyone's chat who's in the live as well. So let's go straight into it first of all. Thank you very much, menu. So this top. Now, I think I've told you before, Colin is a lovely gentleman who lives in the village, incredibly talented at knitting, at art, drawing, crochet, embroidery, dressmaking, you name it, everything. Big career in fashion and design. So, and I go over like once every month or so, and we sit and watch all things fashion. And one of the things we watch is we like to watch all the latest runways from the fashion couture houses. So we've got Dior, Chanel, then Dolce & Gabbana and D Squared, all of those. Well, Armani is one of our favourites. Yes, well, it would be when it's the Italian in me. And we watched couple of months ago, in fact it was just before Wimbledon, so yes, early July, we watched Armani's latest. There's always two a year. You get spring, summer, and then you get autumn, winter. Autumn, winter tends to be around January, and then spring, summer is the one July time. Well, we were watching the men's, it was obviously always men's spring, summer, and there was some knitwear on there. And in fact, there was this knitwear on there. And I just loved it. And as always, you know how clever Colin is. Oh, yes. Yeah, we could be inspired by that. We could try and work out how that was done and create that. And I'll knit it for you, Stuart. I was like, yes. So I'm going to show you this video, which will kind of show a quick little bit of the Armani inspiration, how Colin quickly developed it, and you can see it in the making. And then, of course, as always, me in the garden modelling it. So take a look at this and enjoy. How amazing. You can't get any closer. It's stunning, isn't it? And it's what I am amazed at is when we were watching the catwalk or the runway, you should call it, Colin knew instantly how to create it and what fabric to use. Now, we have many discussions with our ladies and gents at Knitter Natter during the week, and one of the most common reoccurring discussion is yarn and what it will look like when knitted up, and what what fabric it will create. And some people are brave and will experiment and buy something and see what it's like. Some people are like, oh, I don't know, I'm not too sure. And you've probably had this conversation as well. And I'm going to show you the yarn. This is it. This is a very old, out of focus. There we go. Rayon bamboo tape. And as it says at the bottom there, if I can do this, I'll have to refocus. Ooh, there. 100% bamboo viscose. And let's come back to me. There we are. And this is why I kind of wanted to talk. This is perfectly timed, really, because this fits in with the whole idea of nylon and polyester. Because I know many people are, oh, what is bamboo viscose? But anyway, it's a tape yarn. There we go. And many people are like, oh, that doesn't look like yarn. It doesn't look cylindrical. So we'll then immediately dismiss it. And it's a shame, because you could see actually it just knits up normally. And yes, in some places it does look really flat, and that's the beauty of the tape yarn. But more importantly, when Colin was looking at that runway, he just knew straight away as well, it's got to be some sort of viscose. So that's where you'll get the drape. And he could tell because it was this. Because when you saw it on the runway, it wasn't horizontal, as in straight like that, perfectly straight. It's heavy, so it's pulling it down. So he saw from that picture, well, it's got to be some sort of either cotton, but to get the drape, you're probably going to need some sort of viscose, whether that's viscose, bamboo, or maybe even silk in there of some sort. But he's like, no. And so he knitted it, but he also noticed, and you could see it in the picture, and I don't know. I think I've told you this before. Colin's got a massive projector in his house, so we don't just watch it on a telly. We're watching everything huge, and you can spot things that you perhaps wouldn't ordinarily see. And he just knew straight away. It's like, oh, well, there's no shoulder seam, so it's knit completely flat. So it's bottom up, as you saw the picture. Bottom up, no shaping at all, up and round. And then when you get to here, you've got to, stop, put them on a stitch holder, knit that side up, and then knit this side up, and then same down, and then back down again. I think you saw the picture in the video. So when it was laid out flat, you've got the head in the middle. And he just knew that recreating it, that's how you'd have to do it. And boy, isn't he right? Just look. Oh, I've just watched my wire. Isn't it? And he's got my shorts on as well. But it's phenomenal. And you can feel the drape and the heaviness as it clings. You can feel it round. And that's what you get from viscose and from bamboo. The sheen as well. So I'm now, because I don't really know much about bamboo or bamboo viscose or viscose in general. Now I'm a convert. So let us know in the chat if you've used it before. Now we had this was old, sadly discontinued. And Colin's like going, oh, God, we should have had some more. We need some more. Why did they discontinue it? Well, I'm now on the hunt for new yarns, or what currently yarn companies are doing. Because it does. And many of you have said already, oh, Natasha, lovely jumper where the colours Wimbledon is fine. I know, it was pure luck. We had some dead stock of this yarn, and there were so many colours. Hence, I think on that video we had to he photoshopped them in different colours, whether it was going to be green at the top or purple at the top or green arms, and we came up with this is the best one. So we only had a set number of colours. But yes, isn't that the irony of that, of Wimbledon colours knitting it? He knitted it up within Wimbledon time, 2 weeks. And he said it was a joy. One thing he also noticed was using a bigger needle. So this really should, oh, just hit my mic. This really should be bamboo. They would say, Rowan would say 5mm needles. Well, Colin did it on a 6. He might have even done it on a 6.5. So you get that openness and therefore a slight sheen, a sheer, should I say, look through. Yes, Lois absolutely has done a great job. It's just, and remember, there's no pattern for this. So he's looking, he's measuring, counting how many stitches, working out all those ratios. But do you know what? He's also so good. He's writing the pattern up. So the pattern will be written up. We will publish it. Obviously, it will be this one size pattern, but many of you are clever. You could probably work out the ratios and make it bigger. Actually, I've got a lot of ease. Not too much, because you could see it cling. So my body is there, but there's little bits on the arm. But you want that, don't you? Because that's what creates the drape. Now, did I see someone say here? Yeah, the neckline is good. How he's done those decreases away from the edge, so it's not right against 3 stitches away, so then you get this lovely tram line. Oh, I can't do it. It's the opposites. Where am I going? The tram line effect there. Not sure shorts, no. Well, it's like my twin combo set. I feel like a basketball player, but you will love the shorts though, because they've got great pockets. But with bamboo, they're almost like I think it's like a lounge short. This is what I would, on a hot summer's evening, I'd actually have a vest top on and I would just lounge in my shorts. Oh, so Nasasha, my son says the shorts slay. See, yes, yeah, I thought they would be. You know, Colin knows his stuff, doesn't he? Brilliant. So it's phenomenal. Really, really pleased. And I've learned something too. I'm just having a few technical issues with my camera. You don't want to be blurred, do you? I have to take autofocus off. Yeah, there we go. Right, so now before we go on, it's bamboo viscose that was done in, and tape. So you can see that because it's heavy, it clings to the body too, and how smooth and flat it is. Yes, so maybe experiment. If you're like, I've never used tape before, well, there you go. You can see what it looks like, and you can see the effect of it too. So don't be frightened of it, and also don't be frightened of viscose or bamboo. Right, we did a tech run this week. We did, yeah. Oh, and we got to do guess of the year. Right, so sock theme. Keep that in mind. We're going to do guess of the year. I'm going to show you a pattern now. It's a very old pattern. It made me giggle as well. If you could read it, you've got to guess the year of the pattern. When we come out of the VT, you then have a minute to type it all in to the chat. If you're sitting at home and you can't chat, then shout it out. I know many of you gather around with the family. If you're watching on catch up, you can still do it. Just shout it out to yourself. It's all good fun, isn't it? And actually, we're now only on like a 5-second delay, so I won't have to wait too long. So here we go. Here's guess the year. Don't you just love that? No more size about size. Right. Oh, I'm really close up on this one. 1 minute starts now to give us all your guesses of this pattern. No more size about size when you knit with Fleischer's wonderized yarns. Not wonder size, wonderized yarns. Your minute starts now. Let's have a look. Let's move these. Oh, let's move me a bit as well, because I'm a bit close up, aren't I? I'll move back. Valerie, 1949. Come on, guess the year of this pattern. Isn't that a great Argyle sock? Penny, you loving that? 1947. 1953. Thanks, so Natasha. James, 1948. Lois, 1950. Come on, get guessing. Sue, what are you going for? 1955. Hey, Jan. 1957. Ah, Tandy. Hey, Tandy. 1954. Hey, Sheila. 1952. Is it me, Fizz, or are we seeing lots of lovely new people in the chat? Absolutely. Margaret's going for 1948. Time is up. So are anti-shrink permanent fit knitting yarns. No more size about. Your size actually is... Are we ready? 1947. Penny. Woo! You're jumping for joy. I can imagine you. You'll be running around the living room. Who else said 1947? Penny, you got it. James, oh, you're only a couple of years out. So, socks. Let us know in the chat if you're a sock knitter. I can do this quite quickly, hopefully. Engage with your audience. Start a poll. Let's type, do you knit socks? This is the wonders of YouTube. Do you knit socks? Yes or no? There you go. And I think that's gone whoop right to the top of the chat. If you're in the chat, you can answer that as well, and we can get an idea. And it's wonderful that Penny is here, because Penny is a sock knitter like mad and is always doing them. Cranking out, what, one a month at least, aren't you, Penny? And actually, Penny is one of my customers, invaluable customers that love socks. And this is why I wanted to do socks, because I am loving socks more, even though I don't knit them, but I'm loving the whole process of them. And I want to develop the sock yarn at the shop. So we are increasing brands. There is something about socks as well. From a business point of view, I've seen a whole host of age ranges knitting socks. So again, it's good to serve your audience with what they want, and it's such a wide audience, so therefore let's get some more sock yarn in, because you can do it anywhere, can't you? You could do it in the car if you're, not if you're driving, but if you're the passenger, you can have your little Fizz, no. What, driverless cars? Not yet. Knitting, can you imagine that? You could be on the train. Those commuters have their cool, trendy bags, like I've got. Look at this for a cool knitting bag. All the way from New Zealand. Thank you, James. I saw it on his podcast, so go and check his podcast out. Oh, James here in the chat. James Herbison, that is. James, actually, Jimbo James, you should have one too. We should all get together, shouldn't we? Fancy Boy Designs, that's great. Enough room in there to have your crazy Zauberball or your West Yorkshire Spinners yarn and your needles. So that's a good bag. But yes, there are people on the train. There are people waiting for kids at whatever sports club or drama club, isn't it? And you can just get your sock patterns out. It's a bit more manageable, isn't it, than having your jumper that you're taking everywhere with you and knowing which road to get. So I can see there are so many fours for sock knitting, and hence why it's so popular at the shop. So I thought we would just talk about tools and then talk about yarn, and very chilled, really chilled. So let's go to this one, if my iPhone works. There. Sock knitting can be done in so many ways. We all know these ones here, don't we? Double pointed needles, the classic. And 2.5 seems to be the average go-to as well. That's quite thin, I think, but 2.75, 3, you can get them in so many sizes. And this one is where I learned to start knitting socks. The only thing is with that, I fell for the whole second sock syndrome. I only knitted one sock. I couldn't be bothered to do it all again. But there is something wonderful about doing them on double pointed needles. Often, I'm just going to get my wonderful pen out. Some of you know my magic pen, often abbreviated to DPNs. You might see that on websites or on blogs. I still think if you're going to learn to sock knit, learn with those first and then perhaps diverse and change your method, because many people do. I've realised since that I will go to circular sock knitting, but I won't just be doing circular sock knitting on a small cable, which is this one here, which is our 9-inch circular. I prefer to do mine on a big magic loop, and this is the method they call that, magic loop. Some people love magic loop, some people hate it. I like magic loop, but even more mad, I like doing 2 at a time on magic loop. So I'll have a long cable, hence me showing the 80 centimetre cable. Some of you do it on the 9-inch circulars and go round and round and round, especially if you're a continental knitter. You can really pick away, can't you? And if I'd been really good, I would have had a sock set up on each one of these. But I should have asked you, Penny. You could have knitted up some samples halfway through, so I could have modelled. And then we've got our last one, which is not as popular as all the others, but I think it's growing. This one is what they call flyers. And it's DPNs with a little cable in between, so it's a bit more flexible, and it's really a cross between these two. And you actually only need to use 3 of those rather than the 4. Now, it's down to you and your style of which method you like. Now, it's going to be interesting to see what people are saying in the chat, actually, of what they prefer. And I can see already, Lois says, I can't get my head around magic loop. Yeah, I think it's the term, Lois. It's a funny old term, because it's not really magic at all, but the loop is the key. Penny says, I tried the flyers, I couldn't get on with it. And that's it. And that's the beauty of it. I think if you learn with those and then go, right, I'm going to try it with this, or I'm going to try it with that, and then you find what you like. Fizz, do you like the 9-inch needles? Or is that the bigger? Oi, oi. Only for hats, she says. Ah, right, yes. Yes. Well, you'll just crank them out, won't you, I presume? James says magic loop is his first point of call, or 2 circulars for me. Ah, right. Yes. Now, never thought about that. 2 circulars. So you would do your rib on one sock, and then put that down, pick up the other one, and do your sock of the second one. So you don't have the second sock syndrome, but repeating the same technique over. Yeah, I presume. Wendy, lovely to have you here, Wendy. I used to use DPNs, but now use Chagoo 9-inch circular. Yes, yeah. And Chagoo is just a brand, and you'll find which brand you like. I think many of you know I'm a Higher fan. Mandy taught me a lot about knitting when I first opened the shop, and she was a Higher fan, so I've now gone into that. In a way, they're very similar because they've got this similar technology. So the 9-inch circular. Now, tell me, people in the chat, have you got on with the 9-inch circular that has one long needle, little cable, and then the shorter needle? Because I think you can get those too. I'm not too sure on what they're like. I presume it's just so you can get more of a grip on it. I don't know. James, where are we? James says, I tried flyers, but my fingers became pincushions. The tips are too sharp. Yes, right. I'm a sharp fan. You can get higher steel. It just doesn't say sharp like that. So you just get steel versions, and they are a little more rounded and not so sharp. Yeah, these can stab you quite a lot, actually. Yvette, lovely. Do you know, it's wonderful seeing so many new people on here. Wonderful. Once you learn to circular needles, it's hard to go back. Kirsten, I am a continental knitter and use the classic 5 needles, short like the ones on the right. So you're these. Yeah. Wonderful. Tandy, cast on the toes using magic loop, then double points the rest of the way. Yeah, and that's actually where people also find their own different ways. So you might start with magic loop and then go to double. Once you get to the ankle and turning the heel, you might change to those, but then go back again for your circular, stocking stitch. Oh, this is wonderful. Great discussion going on here. So that would be, that would be the tools. And as I say, you have to do some experimenting there. But I think, as many of the people say here, you kind of know what you end up liking. So I tried the 9-inch circular, but I kind of felt like I was a giant using like a pixie's knitting needles. It was funny. And I think you find what you like. Yes, I find short needles are too uncomfortable to hold. Yes, because you're kind of like this, aren't you? But yes, experiment. So that is your tools. Then it comes to yarn. Now, I won't talk much about this one first because I know you've all seen it if you watched Selly Telly last fortnight. We're trying to do keep into this fortnightly manner. So next fortnight is a Selly Telly, and it's a fabric one because the Christmas fabric has finally come in. I'll tell you more about that at the end of the show. And then Selly Telly 2 weeks, Wool Patch Show 2 weeks. Selly Telly 2 weeks, Wool Patch Show. So that's what we're trying to get. And so last week we had Selly Telly and we were showing off, yes, the West Yorkshire Spinners, new country birds. So I won't show too much of this other than just that to whet your appetite. Woodpecker, jay and swallow. Starling sold out. I think Penny got the last one, didn't you, Penny? But I'm here. This is lovely. That's West Yorkshire Spinners signature 4-ply. If you're going to knit socks, it's wonderful. British wool, blue face Leicester, and nylon. Now, if you were talking kind of like supermarkets, West Yorkshire Spinners would be what, your Tesco? Sainsbury's. And then you've got your Zauberballs. So what's that? Your Waitrose and Marks and Spencer's. Now, these are 5 new colours that they've just released for this autumn and winter. So they've been out, 2 weeks? So if you're a crazy Zauberball fan from Schoppel, then you're going to love this because you're going to see them for the first time. These 5 colours they're just not random colours. They've been inspired by the artist Kieran Foley. And let's just quickly show you his work. You can go and find his work. And it says his background is in textile design and he loves experimenting with colours, knitting and stuff. And you just scroll through and there's so much there to read and take. But look at some of his work there, and then the knitting there. So it's kind of like what Kay Fassett does with Rowan and in the fabric world too. But this is Kieran Foley. So here we go. So we've got 5 colours. And I'm going to put them all out at once so you can see. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh. I seem to have lost the 5th one. Where's that one gone? Fizz, what have you done with it? That'll teach me for not having it out on the tech, because we would have realised that we were one short. Right, Botanical Gardens, this one. Look at that. And it is actually what you see there. I've got this wonderful new setup with the light box. And it really does represent the colours very well. So if you are interested, you can see it all on the website, and you know how good Fizz is. Look, the links are already there, so you can see them. But just to make it easier, because you might go, oh, I love that green one. It's all done with numbers. So that's 2542. Then we've got dark roses. That's the purple one, 2543. And then brown. I'm very surprised that this was released, because you know me, I've told you before, brown, black don't really sell in the knitting yarn world. 2544. Late autumn. Late autumn. And then this one is early autumn, and that one is 2545. 2545. Early autumn, late autumn, Botanical Garden, and there is a light Botanical Garden. It's a lovely colour, that one. And if you know Schoppel yarn, you know how wonderful it is, because it's merino and nylon. Now, as I say, we love the West Yorkshire spinners, and what's good about it is it's British wool, 75% wool, and 35% of that is Blueface Leicester. However, Schoppel, it's merino, so it's soft, it's beautiful, and it has nylon. But what is also wonderful, and again, remember we talked about viscose before. Let's just clear that. Oh no, I'll leave it there because we might come back to it. What's really good about the Schoppel's nylon is that it's biodegradable. Now, a year ago on one of my vlogs, before we started going live, I actually did explain all about it. And I think we've got loads of new viewers, and it never hurts to repeat some technical information, because I think when you find out about that technical information, it affect and influence where you part with your money. And I think we do that more, aren't we? When we're going to a shop, what are we going to buy? Why are we going to buy it? Well, it's yarn and we love it. But actually, if we're choosing between two brands, are we going to choose one because of the technical aspect and it may be better for the planet? Will that influence our decision more? Well, that's why I've gone for Schoppel and want to stock more of Schoppel because of that. So they've got this nylon, and it's biodegradable. Check this video out of me, what I did last year explaining about it. Nylon is a man-made synthetic. Fossil fuels are used to make nylon. So your wool socks, when they're in landfill, will probably take 4 or 5 years to decompose. The nylon, however, probably longer, decades, 30 to 40 years. What I love about Schoppel's website is right at the top there, you've got their menu, and you've got yarns, felting instructions and so forth. And then you've got this transparency button, and it just gives you so much information on their yarns. And I'm looking at it now. You can see that they're explaining what it is. And then you come to their biodegradable polyamide section, to the Amni Soul Eco technology. And it's this which is the biodegradable element of it. So let's take a look at the Amni Soul Eco technology. And after a bit of internet research, a company comes up called Folga, and they're based in Italy. And when you scroll across their top and you look at their products, you soon find biodegradable polyamide. And it's exactly what Schoppel was saying. Amni Soul Eco is the polyamide yarn with enhanced biodegradability, developed and produced by Solvay and distributed by Folga. Amni sold biodegrades in around 5 years when disposed of in landfills, compared to more than 50 years for synthetics. It goes on to explain how it does this to help the environment and how does it work, and this will be the interesting thing. The chemical structure of synthetic fibres, generally speaking, does not allow for bacterial penetration, which makes the degradation process more complex and slower. Amni Sol Eco, on the other hand, is produced using enhanced polyamide, which, under landfill conditions, facilitates access and digestion of waste material by bacteria, thus accelerating the biodegradation process. So don't worry, your favourite socks aren't going to decompose in the drawer. No, they will just keep going and survive for as long as your socks would. So your polyamide yarn is still going to be strong. It's still going to keep your socks strong and hard wearing, so you don't lose the ankle or the toe. But you know, as soon as it goes into landfill and it goes in there and it's all clamped down where there's very little oxygen present, you know, the bacteria are going to start eating, and because of its makeup, those bacteria here who want eating away can sort of go yay, woohoo, and get in there quicker and eat that polyamide up. Brilliant, hey? How good is that? I hope that helped. It is fascinating, isn't it? And to me, if I'm going to, yes, it is a bit more money. As I said, it is, let's go back to it so you can see. It is the Marks and Spencers and Waitrose of the sock yarn world. So this retails, these have gone up, the new colours. It would normally retail at £15. So some of the old stock is 15. The new colours are £16. West Yorkshire Spinners, let's do that down here, is £9 a ball. And yes, I can see that you're investing in the technology that Schoppel have gone with working with Fulgar and getting that biodegradable yarn, and also because it's merino. So you are investing in that. So that's why it's the higher price. An interesting question. We were just looking, whilst the VT was playing, we were able to look at some of your questions. How many socks can you make with one ball? So generally, depending on the make, most sock yarn is in 100-gram balls. You can get a pair out of that. But people, please let me know. Penny, James, I think you normally have, I don't want to say a fair bit, but you definitely have stuff left over. It would be interesting to know the grams left over. Anyone drop that in the chat. But look after those bits, because I think you could get creative, and correct me if I'm wrong, I think you would, with your leftovers, you might even be able to do that whole toe and heel contrast. Yes, you may not get a toe and the heel out of it, but you might get the toe out of some leftovers. But I think you always get leftovers, but I'm sure people will tell us in the chat. The meterage on there, what is the meterage for each Schoppel ball? And Fizz has already answered that perfect. Yeah, 420 meters. Now, this is also why I like the Zauberballs, because Valerie has just literally, it's what I was going to talk about next. She goes, that late autumn would be stunning colour work with the botanical garden as the main colour of a sweater. Exactly that. My Friday knit and natter lot absolutely love the Zauberballs, and 3 of them love 4-ply, because this is 4-ply, well, fingering weight. That's all they ever knit with. Linda, Jenny and Ginna have created stunning sweaters. They're old school, as in they're not knitted in the round or anything. They were knitted flat. They only needed 3 balls. So what's that? If that were 15 quid, 15, 30, 45 quid for a merino jumper. But the beauty of it is so light because it's 4-ply. A lot of drape. I should have had pictures of it. Never thought about doing that. But yes, don't think that Zauberball is just for, is just for socks. It could be wonderful for shawls. If you like a Stephen West shawl, crack a Zauberball in there. And also for for jumpers. Yeah, the botanic shawl. This has just said to me in my ear. That's brilliant. Let's see. Right. Yvette, I am size 7 and can knit shorties with a 50-gram ball. Now shorties. Now are these there's a like that, or what are those? Yeah. I quite like the 50-gram balls. I might get 50-gram balls in so people could do heel and toe changes. I keep saying to West Yorkshire spinners, they do solid ranges, but they only do them in 100 grams. And I don't think people want to invest in 100 grams solid colour. I think they more likely would invest in 50 grams. We'll talk about that at the end. Sue says, leftovers, depending on size you make. Okay, and how long you want them. Yeah, very valid. Yeah, never thought about that. James says again, yes, it depends on the sock pattern and size that you're knitting, but with a 100-gram ball for a women's plain sock, 60 stitches in the round, you can get 3 pairs out of 2 100-gram. Oh, right, brilliant. Okay, fantastic, James. Now, speaking of him saying the patterns, the wonderful viewers here, when I put it in the community chat on YouTube, and if you didn't know about this, I'm just going to quickly show you now. You go back to this page here again. You know, on the tabs there, it's a bit like a Facebook, Instagram feed, and I'll often post there. And I did look. Need your input, please. What's your go-to sock pattern? Got some fabulous comments. And also from Ravelry. I mean, I've just joined a wonderful group on Ravelry, British Banter, and they gave me some wonderful patterns. I just said, what's your go-to sock pattern? So I can make a PDF and give it to my wonderful viewers. And they came up trumps. So Fizz is going to drop it into the chat. We've made a little PDF. It's you can find it on my website, but the link takes you directly. And it's everyone's go-to pattern. These patterns have been tried and tested and knit over and over and over again. Now, granted, they may not all be beginners, but the point is they're go-to sock patterns, because I know many of you knit the same sock over and over and over again. Many of you just like letting the yarn do the talk, so many of them are plain with no fancy cabling down at all, but they are go-to patterns, and it's a wonderful document, and as I say, it's given to us by sock knitters. So take time. There's loads on there. I think there's about 15, 16 on there. And as I say, they're all different, but they are, yes, as I say, given to us because they know they're tried and tested. So there we go. Right, what I want to do now is, well, I know we're running a bit over. So if you're all right to hang with me, we might go to about 9:15, because just loving it. The chat is electric tonight. What are the care instructions? Well, that's actually very good, because that was going to lead me on to my next question. So with all sock yarn, because it has nylon in, or some sort of artificial fibre to give it strength so your heels don't go and your toes don't poke through, it does mean it's washable, machine washable. And actually, let's take a look. Let's go back to the iPhone one. And I'll show you theirs, but as always, our YouTube audience will be able to give us more information on how they knit their how they wash their socks. But the tag there, if I can get it, says 30 degrees, but don't iron them and don't tumble dry them. But I would have thought a normal 40 will do it, because 40 is cool wash anyway. But let us know in the chat. Oh, we've got this poll up here, haven't we? What's that? 55% say yes, they're knitted socks. Great. But yeah, put it in the chat, because I know many of you sock knitters. Sue's iron socks. Yeah. So write it in the chat on how you wash them. But because you've got the acrylic in there, the nylon, it means everything's been treated as well. The merino probably has, is it even superwash? I want to do a video on superwash yarn. Fizz, make a note. Yes, right. Yeah. Not that one. This one. Oh. Right, can you see it? It's a bit German, but the English, 75% shore wool, strong quality superwash. Okay, so that means for sure, it's not pleasant to hear this because I know some people think, oh no, but basically superwash in its very, very crudest way of telling you has been treated with some sort of plastic. It has a coating over it to stop, every fibre of... Oh, I should draw it like this, shouldn't we? Barbs, yeah. Fibre. I'm looking at a fibre of of wool under a microscope. You see those barbs, and superwash basically has treated it to strip those barbs off. So it's like that. It's either stripping them off or it's covering them up with that layer of plastic. I need to do some more research on that. But basically, that's why the wool then can't felt and then shrink because of that treatment. So you could chuck it in the washing machine. And also another thing, superwash wool actually likes the heat. If you have merino 100% superwash garment, it could lose its shape. Well, actually, it needs to be chucked into the wash at 40 and sometimes the tumble dryer for it to come back in, because superwash can often grow a bit like cotton. So would you believe the heat and the wash can bring it back in? So let us know if you've done that. So I've heard this many before, certainly from people also like Stacey, Very Pink Knits, a big fan of hers. She said the same thing, that's what superwash likes, that treatment. Bob, hey Bob, did I miss out? You did. Well, we're still going. I've been talking a bit too much. We're enjoying a Sunday evening. Nights are pulling in already here in the UK, and that's what we like, isn't it? We can't do anything else in the evening when it's dark other than sit and watch our favourite people on YouTube. We are still live, yes. Oh, look, excellent article on superwash. Where? Tell us. Please let us know if you can find it, Valerie. If not, email it to me and then we could do it on for another show. Right, let's go to school time. Because I don't know about you, but I sometimes get overwhelmed with man-made fibres and what they are. And we're especially getting new ones. So let's come back to, remember our viscose, our bamboo, which we love. Now, bamboo, we've got viscose, and I've already pre-prepared the diagrams. So it should be easier. So we've got our viscose, or some people call it rayon. That's the generic term. You had rayon viscose, like here you've got bamboo viscose. Basically, it's not natural. It's man-made, but it's we can put in, this is where we put in Lyocell, which we're now starting to see. And I'm going to link that with Tencel. And I think, we were looking earlier, and I think I saw a couple of people saying, not too sure about Tencel, but they've heard the word Lyocell. You might have heard the word Cupro too, or even Modal. Yeah, it's a rayon. Basically, this red little bit here is, in general, it's regenerated cellulose. Okay, so I'm going to change colour now because it's in this blue category, cellulose. Its fundamental building block basically is cellulose, the insides of the plant walls. And they're taking whatever plant that is, mostly wood, though we're now starting to get eucalyptus, wood pulp. And it's regenerated because they've had to literally get it down, use chemicals to scrunch it all up, and then to get it back into a liquid again with chemicals. And then you get this viscous, which is where the term comes from, viscose liquid. It's like a honey color liquid. And if you go on YouTube, there are some phenomenal videos where you see it. So you see this viscous liquid, as I say, honey color. And they then pump it through a very, very small hole. And as it comes through that small hole, it's in a big tank of acids. And yes, when we're talking 1850s onwards, they would be really toxic. You could see the chemical workers with all sorts of mask and equipment on. They're not nice chemicals. But when you see the viscous come through this hole, it literally comes out in these tiny strands. And then the man puts his hands in with the gloves and he pulls the strands up and he puts it round these machine wheels. And then boom, you've got this incredible yarn in whatever size or whatever they like. And that basically was Rayon, viscose, okay? So it's regenerated cellulose. Now, we've also got, it's also true of other types of cellulose fibre, but I'm going to change my colour pen because we've got cotton, haven't we? Cotton, linen, and hemp. But these are considered more natural because when you get the fibre, they're in the fibre's in the shape that you're using them in. They're not regenerated like the wood pulp or the bamboo or the eucalyptus. So we kind of think that cotton and linen and hemp is more natural, yet it's still cellulose. Now, in the natural fibre, we've obviously got non-cellulose, haven't we? And you're all shouting it out now. Yeah, it's wool. We can put alpaca in there, can't we? And silk. You now with me? Keep up the back there. Now we get to the man-made fibres, okay? And you can see where that's going over here in purple. Man-made fibres... let's pop that up here in our brown, man-made. But our purple one is stuff that is completely synthetic, completely made from machine. So I'm going to put in there 100% synthetic. And that's where you've got your nylon and your polyester. Okay. And this is what is in our sock yarn. 100% synthetic. It's made from, basically petroleum-based stuff. It's oil, isn't it? And that's another debate, but we won't go down that route because so we've got 100% synthetic, but you can see our man-made fibres, but we've still got this one here, our Rayon. It's man-made, but not synthetic. Okay, because it's in our cellulose circle. So this is what is being pushed even more now with yarn companies, because it's going to take on the properties of the fibre that it comes from. So like cotton, linen, hemp. Hence why this bamboo has this wonderful drape, or it has the silkiness to it. Because when viscose was first made, that's what they wanted it for. Well, let's go to this screen because this is the interesting bit. Our OG viscose. Or viscose rayon, that was 1850s onwards. That was made because they wanted to try and make an artificial silk. So this is so soft. And then we've got our second generation, which some of you might have heard of before, our modal, or our what they sometimes call high wet modulus. Because the first generation of Viscose didn't do very well when it got wet. You remember those crinkly shirts, those really, really crinkly shirts? It wasn't very strong when it was wet. So the second generation, which we're talking about 1950s onwards, they wanted to try and solve it and make it stronger when wet. Now it's the third generation that we are now in. So you're now going to see Lyocell. And the third generation is about going away from the toxic chemicals, because all these were using toxic chemicals. Toxic chemicals in use, and then what do you do with the toxic chemicals afterwards? What are they doing with it? And now this third generation, this is what they call a closed loop system, where they're not using non-toxic chemicals anymore. And they're also recycling those chemicals in this closed loop process. So it's going round and round and round. And this is Lyocell. Okay, so that's what you're now seeing now. But this is where it gets a little bit confusing. So the actual third generation is Lyocell, but there is one main big company who is really pushing it. And I'm going to put that down here. And that's Lenzing in Austria. And they, of course, as you would do in this modern age, well, I say modern age, we've done it over the years, they have developed their own brand of Lyocell. So you have the brand name, and I can hear you shouting it out already, Tencel. And you'll see it with the trademark, okay? And that's Tencel. So you're still in this whole idea of rayon and viscose and cellulosic fibre, but it should be a lot kinder to the planet. And I think Fizz is going to drop in, if she hasn't already dropped it in, there's a document, a really nice PDF, a very simple PDF from Lenzing about their process. I've obviously watered it down a lot to explain there, but that is basically it. So that is why you're seeing Lyocell now, or particularly the word Tencel. And that's actually where I'm thinking of going with the shop, with some brands that actually I want to get, because this Viscose, I can get rid of that and then come back to me. Because this Viscose is, it has those properties of cotton and silk, but it's done in a different way where maybe it's more sustainable because it's with eucalyptus. That's what Lyocell is, because it's incredibly quick growing. You don't need pesticides to control it. I think that's the same with bamboo, isn't it? It's just better in every way for the planet. And of course, you start seeing it in yarn. Many of you are fabric people, and you're seeing it with fabric and Tencel or Lyocell appearing in fabric. This one is new from the West Yorkshire Spinners. Elements. I can't wait to get it to the shop. I don't know when. I'll have to see, because we're going through shop changes at the moment. But I would like to get it. And there it is. Can you see that there? Introducing 8 new stunning shades of our innovative blend of Tencel Lyocell. So they're putting the brand name because it's from Lenzing, but they're also putting Lyocell because that's the basic. That's what it is. It's like, maybe they'll be calling it Rayon Lyocell, or whether Rayon will stop being used, it'll just be called Lyocell. But you know that Tencel is then from Lenzing. And then you can be safe knowing that that's done through a closed loop system, and their practices are better. Now, it's very difficult. It's very difficult when buying any type of yarn about the policies and the practices of the company. You have to do a lot of digging. So if you're really into that, you'll have to do your research. But you know that if you see Tencel, that it's from Lenzing, Austria, and that actually that you can probably feel, or you can, not probably, you can feel very comforting the practices they're using of sustainability and everything. But look at that yarn. Can we click on it? Look at that. Oh, let's get rid of that. But look at that blue and that turquoise. And we click on it. There we go. 60% tencel, 40% Falkland Islands wool. So you can see what's going on. They've obviously spoken with Austria. They've got that Lyocell, and theirs is tencel, so you know it's from there. So that traceability, you can feel if you're really into your yarn and where things, or anything, where things are coming from. But look at that. You know it's then therefore, because it's Lyocell, what we're talking about, this fabric, it's going to have that sheen and that shine and that luster, as we say. It's very difficult to see it there. If anyone's if anyone's knitted with it, let us know. If you've used Lyocell or tencel in general, let us know. But keep your eye open, because I think you're going to see it more. I've done this research over the last 4 or 5 months, because obviously we're bombarded with lots of yarn, and it's like I'm seeing Lyocell, but then I'm seeing tencel. I don't fully understand what is it. So hopefully now you'll know. If you see tencel, you know it's the brand name of the 3rd generation Lyocell, which is what is being produced at the moment. Closed loop system, so you know it's non-toxic, safe to the environment and everything. James says Elements is lovely. Wonderful. Right. Next time you come in, you'll have to tell me more about it. It must be soft. Is it soft? Yeah, I would have thought it's soft, but it's Falklands Merino, and Merino is soft anyway. I'm not sure whether Falklands Merino is soft as, say, Australian or Spanish Merino. Perhaps James can give us more information there. Much softer than linen. Great. So there we go. Right after that school. Right, you can sit up now, class. Sleeping at the back. Let's go through to the charts, and then we'll finish off. Do you know what's hot at the moment? Fizz, what should we do? Crochet first? Are you ready with your buttons, Fizz? Fizz is ready for the crochet. It's quick again, so she can imagine her as we see the patterns. She puts the links into the chat. This is hot right now patterns. I know many of you know, but if you haven't seen our charts before, it's taken from Ravelry, a huge knitting and crochet database. You can find so many patterns there. But as Sue tells me, who's in our chat here, who comes to Curly Sue, as I call her, comes to Thursday Knit and Natter, big on Ravelry. It's a community. It's a really huge community, but also you can look at people's stash, what they've got, and it's huge. But from our point of view, we look at the patterns of what's hot right now. What is everyone clicking on and seeing? And then we've put them into, we've filtered them into the charts. So from 10 to 1, you can see what's most popular now and what people are looking at crochet-wise for patterns. Hot right now. Here we go. I love the crochet charts compared to the knitting charts because they differ so much each week, and they also differ in styles across the whole 10. Fascinating. Lovely seeing your messages. James says, I love spinning with Lyocell. Haven't knitted that yarn up though. Right, James, get on it. Let us know feedback. But yes, as Valerie says there, yeah, stretch. You get more stretch. The fabric is forgivable. Yeah, there's as you can see on here, but the drape you can't. Drape from it is phenomenal. Right, knitting charts, and then we'll finish off with just a tiny bit of shop news of what's coming up in 2 weeks' time on Selly Telly. So knitting charts. Is the ranunculus going to be in the top 10? Again, we shall see. Here we come. I can see the steam and the smoke coming off Fizz's keyboard. Brilliant. If you have knitted the ranunculus, let us know. Valerie, have you knitted it? James, have you knitted it? Let us know, because there is something about it. I can't work out what it is. Is it because even on that picture there, she's got like a maple leaf covering half of it up? What is it about it? Is it just because the little lace work at the top, similar to Love Notes? Is it because you could get it out of so many skeins? Let us know, because it would be good to have that discussion. Right, before we finish them, little bit of shop news. 4. That's you. Well, no, you wouldn't keep going back to Ravelry though, would you? But there's something about it. Let us know what it is. Type it in there, Valerie, while I talk about what's coming up at the shop. So, sock yarn. Penny, you're still with us. And I know I've briefly chatted about this on the last show, but this is what will be coming to the shop once the builders are finally gone. Grundle. Now look at that for sock yarn. Classic stripes. That's what's that. Oh, even Viz just said to me here. That's lovely. Yeah, there's just something about stripes. Not Fair Isle. You know, not like what we get from West Yorkshire Spinners, which is lovely. But there is something about classic stripes. So Hot Socks Medina is coming in, and you get an idea of that. Just, I think there's about 8 or 9 colours. Penny, yes, you have to get ready. I'm really excited about this. It's a lot more affordable too. I think these might be 50-gram balls. It's kind of on the same maybe level as Drops or Herchigan. Is that how you pronounce it? It's a more affordable price point, but it's the colours. Oh, you think Fizz thinks that might run really well through the sock machine? Oh yeah, lots of people. Oh yeah, you're all. Oh, James, take my. Oh, I put you down there. That's why I did that. Take my money. Right. Well, not yet because I haven't got it in yet. Lois. Oh yes, look at that. Looks like a great sock yarn. And could use this yarn for sock head hat too. Oh, I don't know that one. I love this pattern inspiration. It's great. Mary, yes, yeah, I'm with you, Stuart. I don't see the appeal of the ranunculus. What's all the fuss about? No, me and Fizz don't know either. But yes, there we go. Now, and also what's coming up, I've done my order for Katia. This may not float people's boats, but it did me. I saw it when I was at H&H Cologne, Europe's biggest yarn trade show. And I fell in love with these 2 yarns. You've got Angelo here, which is 67% wool and 33% polyamide. But it's in a huge, that ball size, literally is huge. It's about this big. It's like wearing air. But you also know me, those who've been watching me for a long while, you know I do like a not a gimmicky yarn, but a one-off wonder yarn that can come in for autumn and winter and just be great for hats or a nice scarf. Ting's gonna love this to do a scarf with. It's wonderful textured yarn. It's like James, what would you call it when you're spinning this? Would you call it an art yarn? It's just wonderfully textured. If I was doing mixed media stuff, it would be wonderful. So it's kind of got a bit of boucle in there. It's got loose strands done in. It was just wonderful. And making a jumper out of that would be great. It is, I think, got loads of stuff in it. It's got a bit of wool, bit of acrylic, bit of recycled, because Katia are doing that as well. They're going into recycled cotton, because that's also where we're heading to with, sustainability and everything. So they're the things coming in. Now, before we finish, Selly Telly in 2 weeks' time is fabric. I know many of you go, Stuart, I thought you were giving up fabric. Well, I am, but I had to order so much fabric like 6 months ago, so it was still coming in. And once you've placed your order, it goes to the mill and they make it, so you can't cancel. So this was ordered, September? I know, yeah, that's what Christmas is like. So nearly a year ago. So Christmas fabric in 2 weeks' time. I ordered Ombre Flurries Metallic, and Fizz helped me choose. These are the colours to choose from. We didn't get them all. Fizz was very good. Stuart, you can't have that and you can't have that, because that would have been too much money. So we sat down and we've got a couple of reds. So we've got the classic Christmas red and we've got the classic Christmas green, which I think is that one, isn't it? Yeah. I think we've got, if I remember rightly, we've got the lime. What else did we get, Fizz? I think we got the blue. We got peacock, didn't we? And turquoise. And it's wonderful. If you haven't used ombre, it's a phenomenal fabric, what you can do with it. So that is going to be on. And then also, if you like an advent, I've got a really easy advent that you fold up. No more cutting out your squares to make all those pockets. You just fold it up. It's a wonderful quick way of making an advent calendar. Folding up, sewing across, folding up. It's like making big pleats. I will do a tutorial of this and put this on YouTube too. So that's coming in, and that will be on Selly Telly in 2 weeks. So that's how it kind of goes. It'll be Selly Telly, then Woolpatch Show. Selly Telly, Woolpatch Show. And the Selly Telly is mostly, it's just selling. It's showing you a product that's selling in my shop and you buying it. But Selly Telly does have deals for you that are watching. So you might get things cheaper, you might get bundles, but it is just for you. This Selly Telly fabric won't be in the shop. It's not going in the shop because I've changed it all. So it's here for you fabric fans, and I can still help support you and hopefully give you some special deals for that too. So that's the whole point of Selly Telly, whether it's wool or fabric. Because this show, it's nice to do other things, and I don't want this show to be a selling show. This is about knitting chat, crochet chat, yarn chat, where we talk about all things. It's a show more than selling. I don't want always to sell to you. As Fizz says there, anything you want to buy, if you wish to purchase, if you're in the UK, you can go onto those links, and I've put them all in one page so you can find. Should we take another look? Is my phone still working? Oh, yeah. So if you want to find those, or you want to find the West Yorkshire Spinners, oh no, I think it has run out. Yeah, I put my hand underneath it. That's just goes to show, doesn't it? You can find them all in the links there. Do you know, it's been wonderful. Really, really nice. It's pretty much the end of the summer for us here in the UK. I know it's different wherever you live, and the nights will soon start to draw in. So it's going to be cosy again in the evenings. So I can think of nothing better Sunday evenings, hanging out with you lot, talking about all things yarn, knitting and crochet. patterns and everything, tools, utensils, notions, you name it. Builders are going to be in and finish their work hopefully next week. So when we come back in September for the Wool Patch show, we'll be able to show you around. Can't wait, can't wait. So exciting. It's lovely having you with us. I'm just going to do one last fabric check just to see. Fabric check, a comment check. Oh, James, you call that type of yarn semi-art yarn, okay? Where you get all those, oh yeah, like Fizz says, is funk like a slub yarn? Yeah, I suppose. Yeah, semi here, there and everywhere. James, will do. Guess who's posted 2 pairs of socks? Oh, right. Well, that will be then in the gallery. So you've been busy. Ta-ta for now. Thank you, everyone. And yes, enjoyed your company. And if you're watching on Catch Up, enjoyed having you here with me. With me and Fizz, always a pleasure. See you in 2 weeks for Selly Telly, or otherwise in 4 weeks for another Wool Patch show. Cheers, everyone.